Okay, hi guys. In this video, I want to show you how to improve your Photoshop UI design workflow into Unity. This can also help with animations, sprite sheets, and things like that. So the normal workflow with Unity is that you have a designer in the team will come up with a nice kind of UI branded UI. You're one of your big clients will have a nice big brand, and with that they've got brand guidelines, certain things that any presentation or project within the company, any media that's produced needs to adhere to. So there's a lot of tweaks and UI changes that go along with that. And also if you're making a game or anything like that, you've got all these kind of 2D animations that need to be updated and re-implemented. And if you're the coder and you want things to be automatically updated without you having to export from a Photoshop file and manually replace the objects in the scene and get those updates from the art side of things, what you can do is you can give access to a folder. We've got this folder called example here. You can give access to that folder to one of the designers that comes up with these things, and then they can update their stuff directly into Unity. I'll show you how this is done after I've shown you what the result is. So say for instance you've got a designer in Photoshop. I am not a Photoshop designer, so what I'm going to do is just show you something very simple. So in yellow here, I'm just going to draw with the mouse just a circle and a dash. So I'm now then going to save this, and when you save this, I'm going to save it in the example folder that you see in Unity. So I'm going to call this just UI for now. And then in Unity, I'm going to go across, and we see that instead of having a PSD file here, we've got a PSB there, and it's just the same thing as a PSD file, but it's a larger file format than PSD. So then we have this here, which is automatically generated. I'll show you how you can do this. So this is now kind of split out into, we've got sprite render on it, we've got the UI and the sprite renders and stuff on it there, so we can turn off the background. Let's show you a little bit more. This normally it's just a PSD file and you can't really do much with that, but this, if we go back and now add in a new layer, and on this layer we add some text, and the text we, I don't know, say have in blue, and we have it in, say, that font, and then we save it, maximize compatibility, and then go over to Unity and see it update there. Perfect. So it's also added it as a new layer. Look at that. Absolutely great. So now what if you want to change the size, and the designer's like, well, we're going to have a score text box here, so we can say score to the top right hand corner of the screen, yeah, they want to just leave that there for now. Save, we go over back to Unity, we see it appear here, brilliant. But now they say actually we want the score on the other side. So there we go, save. And hey, you don't have to worry about that. Then what if they say, oh, yeah, it's a bit too big. Let's have that a bit smaller. So yeah, that's fine. They want it smaller. Save it. Go back over to Unity, and you see it didn't work, right? So the reason why this doesn't work is because this needs to be rasterized. If the size is changed, as we've seen here, it didn't work. So the way to get around that is you convert to a smart object, and then you rasterize it, save it, go back over, and it fixes it. So don't ask me questions to why this doesn't work, but my brief understanding is it's the code for. I'll show you how to implement this, and then it's one of the limitations of the code that actually creates this automated process of splitting out into layers from a Photoshop file and creating those objects within the scene as well. So you can just use a Photoshop file like layers within Photoshop. So in order to get this functionality within your project, I'll show you what you need to install. So the way to do this, and this is the only way I got it to work, is if you go to the package manager. Bear with me, I have to find it because I don't regularly use this. This is a fairly new package manager. Here we go. So window package manager, and it's called 2D PSD Importer. In order to see this, I think you have to show preview, make sure show preview packages is ticked. So then once you've got that, there's a little button at the bottom that will say install. So if you've not got something to install, you'll say install and you click it and it installs. I found that this is slightly kind of buggy, not so user friendly, this package manager yet. So when you click install, say if I searched for 2D PSD and it found it online, and then you click there and click install, nothing actually happened for me. It only started installing it when I clicked X, clicked on something else, and then clicked back to it. Then it started to install, and I saw the progress bars going in the background. And then I thought, okay, great. So once that finished, and it took quite some time, it installed it into here. So you should see a whole bunch of stuff being installed. So this. I think actually like most of that, and perhaps that. Not quite sure, but there's quite a bit that it gets installed, and definitely watch out for the 2D stuff there. And I know it uses Burst, so I know it does this stuff for definite. So you should see all of these packages added just by installing this one package into your project here. You should see all of those things added automatically. Once that's finished, you go back out. All you need to do is import. This here is, if we show you in Explorer, it is actually just a PSB file in that folder there. So that's a Photoshop file, and you can see here, this is what it should look like if you've installed it correctly, which means you can just drag it into the scene and it will create something like that. I'm Charles Burt, and this video is brought to you by hireaunitydeveloper.com.